is not a story about pain. It's a story about endurance, awareness, and choice. Tina didn't begin life with ease. Childhood was not a place of safety. It was a place of learning too early how to read rooms, how to stay quiet, how to survive emotionally before having the language for it. When you grow up in chaos, you don't develop in straight lines. You adapt, you become observant. You learn how to sense danger, mood, and instability before words are spoken. Those skills keep you alive early on, but later they must be unlearned. For years, Tina carried the weight of experiences that were never hers to hold. She internalized responsibility for other people's behavior. She learned to overfunction, to explain, to endure. And for a long time, that looked like strength. But survival strength and soul strength are not the same thing. As adulthood unfolded, patterns repeated. Not because she was broken, but because unhealed environments recreate themselves until awareness interrupts them. Relationships mirrored familiar dynamics. Expectations stayed heavy. Loyalty was often confused with self-abandonment. Spiritually, this is how learning works. Life doesn't punish, it presents. Over time, Tina began to notice something shift. The same situations no longer felt tolerable. What once felt normal started to feel heavy. That discomfort wasn't failure, it was growth. Awareness always arrives before change. The spiritual journey didn't come through grand awakenings or dramatic moments. It came quietly, through exhaustion, through clarity, through the realization that peace was not something to earn, it was something to protect. One of the hardest lessons came later in life, understanding that healing sometimes requires distance. Not everyone is meant to walk with you into who you are becoming. Some people only know how to relate to the version of you that stayed small. This included family, and that truth is rarely spoken honestly. There were people who loved Tina, but loved her past more than her present. People who needed her to remain familiar because her growth challenged their comfort. When she changed, it disrupted unspoken agreements, so they pulled. They reminded her of who she used to be. They questioned her boundaries. They resisted the new standards. Spiritually, this is a crossroads. You either return to who you were to keep others comfortable, or you continue forward and accept the grief that comes with leaving some people behind. Tina chose forward, not out of anger, not out of superiority, but out of self-respect. This wasn't about cutting people off. It was about refusing to be pulled backward. Healing doesn't coexist with constant invalidation. Growth cannot survive in environments that demand regression. By the time Tina reached 50, something profound had settled in. Not bitterness, but understanding. She could see her life as a whole. She saw how every experience taught discernment, how pain sharpened perception, how survival built resilience, but reflection built wisdom. Spiritually, she understood this. Nothing was wasted. The trauma taught her boundaries. The silence taught her intuition. The years of endurance taught her strength. And the separation taught her self-trust. At 50, Tina no longer needed to explain herself. She no longer needed approval from people committed to misunderstanding her. She understood that peace is not loud, and that real power doesn't argue. She learned to cleanse her inner world, the same way one cleans a home. Thoughts that didn't belong were released. Old narratives were retired. Emotional weight that wasn't hers was set down. This is self-mastery, not perfection, but authorship of your inner life. Today, Tina stands with clarity, not defined by what happened to her, but by what she chose to become because of it. Her spirituality is practical, embodied, and lived. It shows up in boundaries, in discernment, in knowing when to stay quiet and when to walk away. She understands now. Some people only know how to love you in pieces. Some only feel safe when you remain familiar. And some chapters must end so the story can continue. Reaching 50 wasn't about age. It was about arrival into self-trust, into calm, into alignment. This journey wasn't about escaping the past. It was about integrating it, learning from it, and refusing to let it dictate the future. And that is the deepest spiritual work there is. Not transcendence, not bypassing, but becoming whole and choosing peace anyway.